topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good afternoon, San Antonio. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show where we bring you the top experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Hey, for all of those of you who say we don't read your emails, I'm going to prove to you that I do. We have gotten so many emails on a topic that's probably, it's without a doubt our hottest topic in every city we're in. And we have gotten your letter saying, why aren't you doing something on wellness or functional medicine in San Antonio? The problem is every one of our spots have been taken, but we now have more spots that we're offering, more shows. And we were so lucky to get the top when it comes to wellness, when it comes to functional medicine. Let me introduce you. We're going to say Dr. Julio Jimenez, but I'm going to start calling him Dr. J. Good afternoon, Dr. J.
Good afternoon, Stephen. How are you?
You're smiling. That's a good start.
Hey,
and I got to tell you,
that's why.
Oh my God, you deserve it. I got to tell you, we spoke about a week ago, and I could just sit back and listen to Dr. J talk. You are so knowledgeable in this field, but you are also smart enough. You've got a wonderful assistant in Sandra, don't you?
Yes, I do.
She is wonderful. And I got to tell you, Dr. J, the Ask the Expert show is so lucky to have you. First of all, tell people about your practice and your background.
Yes. So my practice is here in San Antonio, in the Stone Oak area, but we do work with people outside of the state and outside of even the country. In fact, we'll talk a little bit more of how my online practice, I do online mostly because I do have a practice up in Spain, and we work with people in Europe, and we work with people here in the United States. So again, that's kind of where my practice, what we actually do, but the approach into functional medicine is basically kind of what you're asking me a little bit on that. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. So my approach to functional medicine, I would say it's a little bit outside the box than mostly what we've been taught in functional medicine or even in medicine, right? The teachings is about your symptoms, right? Will create a disease, and from the disease you have a protocol, and the protocol is followed by the guy upstairs that tells you what to do. That goes for the same in functional medicine. If you go to a functional medicine doctor, we're always going to be taught to find out the symptoms. Stephen, if you're having problems with the digestive system or you're bloated, we got to deal with that. If you have constipation, we've got to deal with that. Take this to help that, right? It's always about a symptom to a substance. And I noticed that as my practice came along, that's not what I wanted to do. So let me give you a quick story just to kind of make you understand how I got into functional medicine, and really that we have helped thousands of people till today to recover their health. And one of the big things is that I'm a chiropractor by trade. That's my doctor. That's how I got into
right.
Open the door. But as a chiropractor, I lived in Kansas, and my grandmother passed away from kidney failure from diabetes. Now, my grandma died in a really bad way. And as a chiropractor, I did everything possible I could through the whole chiropractic theory. I just felt that I didn't do enough for her on the chronic disease level. And then my father and mother were diabetics. So now I'm thinking, is my mom and dad going to pass this way? And that's not what I wanted, right? So that's what really impulsed me to go and do more beyond than what I was just doing. So I did go back to school. I did 3 years of a diploma of internal disorders. I lived in Spain for about 3 years, which I learned a lot about functional neurology, functional endocrinology. And I came back to the States and I started working as a chiropractic, but also started working with functional medicine. And I noticed that I really helped out my parents. They're diabetic free, and the whole concept of helping people. And that's kind of where it began, my walk of functional medicine. From there, I moved to San Antonio. And in San Antonio, I've been practicing here for about good while, 15 years or so, and it's just complete functional medicine. And that's kind of what gives me the right to say I'm an expert, because we have helped thousands of people in helping regain their health, but in a completely different concept of identifying root cause. And that's really what I always announce myself in, is that I'm a root cause expert, because we are looking at the root cause.
Dr. J, is Spain ahead of the United States in functional medicine? In Spain right now, I feel like when I went back to Spain, I had the opportunity, and I was lucky enough to work with some of the people that were really thinking more into the functional perspective. And these were doctors more, not so much from Spain, but I did have a few doctors from Germany and the UK that were really into the functional medicine. And but I think that it's not so much about functional medicine anymore like here. As you notice in America, it exploded of functional medicine. Everybody wants organic, everyone wants natural. Yes.
And it's understandable, and that's kind of what I want. But I think that there's got to be a system of how to get there. A lot of doctors, we speak about root cause, right? What is the root cause, right? If you ask me, well, Dr. J, I'm dealing with issues, what is my root cause? How do I get about finding it, right? So again, root cause doesn't mean that just your digestive is part of it, or maybe just taking care of your symptoms. And that's how I evolved in the last, put everything together. What I've learned is that I created a health system called the IW method. And this IW method is consistent of how is it that you have this God-given ability to heal. Something's wrong. You destroyed the fundamentals or the foundation of your health. And that's what created your symptoms and your disease. So what is the foundation to your health? And this is what this IW method really consists of, is that we got to look at health from the outside box. And there are 4 systems in health in which I look at my patients that has really proven to work and has really given me great results with so many chronic diseases. So therefore, this IW method, and I believe, and the way I was speaking to you before, is my way of looking at health is that there are 4 systems that will create healing or disease, okay, in your body. And these systems are intertwined with each other. They're webbed. One cannot work without the other. Okay. And the systems that I have, and I'm going to name them to you right now. So people that are hearing, they need hope and they want help. And maybe you've been taking medications for a long time, and maybe you've been taking a lot of functional medicine, natural medications, and yet you're not finding health and you're not the way you need to be. But now you're stuck, into a supplement or a medication for the rest of your life. There's a reason why your body's not working right. And more likely, there's a problem within those 4 systems, okay? One system is going to be your digestive system, okay? Your endocrine system, which are your glands and chemicals, and your neuroendocrine, which is in your brain and chemicals that control everything in your body. And then a thing that I call the circulating immune complex, which means inflammation in your blood, especially from your foods. When I look at my patients, those are the 4 systems that I believe and has really proven that I found that dysfunction within 1 or 2 or 3 systems that are giving you your disease, that is stopping the foundation to your body to recover itself. And that's how I bring my patients. And if you're listening out there and you're dealing with any chronic disease, most of the time, it's not that I tell my patients, it's not that I want to sell you a supplement, because I'm not here to sell you any organic substance. I am here to teach you and educate you to understand how your health works and what is your individual dysfunction that's going to change you for the rest of your life. And now I have to educate you so you'll understand how to get there. So again, it's like teaching you how to fish, right? So you can feed yourself instead of coming to my office and picking up that fish all the time for your well-being. So again, that's just kind of the method in which I really have been using in a different perspective that I was taught to look at symptoms and give you a substance for that symptoms, because there's a disease.
Where does stress fall into that?
Well, stress is huge, right? Stress, but when I'm looking at, so if I'm using my W method, right?
Yes.
And I would say, all right, so Stephen, what is going on with your stress? And you're coming into my office and says, Dr. J, I just, I'm having a lot of problems with my gut. I'm stressing out a lot. I'm losing weight. I'm tired all the time. what's going on. Then if I'm looking at my W method is that the first thing you do is that, even for anybody that's listening to me, the first thing that we do in our IW method is that I need you to we need to identify which system is dysfunctioning, okay? Because stress is part of the system. So if I'm looking at just stress, right, I would look at the endocrine system, which is rather the adrenal glands, right? So you see, that adrenal gland is part of the endocrine system, right? And that's affecting other systems. So for example, if you're having high stress, your increased cortisol, which is what? The fight response hormone. When you have too much cortisol, it's going to destroy a lot of things in your system, especially inflammation. It's going to destroy the hippocampus of your brain, inside of your brain. That's going to create inflammation, right?
Does it keep you from losing weight, Dr. J?
Yes, it could be because you really stress out and you're not eating, or you can be gaining too much weight because you're eating in the need of stressful eating, right? It can destroy the thyroid. High cortisol can destroy the lining of your gut. You can destroy your sleeping patterns. It can give you a lot of tiredness. So if I'm talking to you about stress, then there's other systems that are affected by the adrenal glands, right? So if your adrenal glands, how do we know? Well, we need to test it, right? Once we identify it, then we know that that's the root cause of maybe your gut, your dysfunction with your gut, your acid reflux, right? Or it could be what's causing autoimmune dysfunction and inflammation in your blood. Because why? Leaky gut impermeability, which we can go in detail about these things. I just want to show you how these systems are webbed, right? You're talking about stress, which is endocrine system that affects my digestive system, right? You see how the root cause of your imbalance could be way on the stress level, but it's affecting you in other areas. That's why I can't fall asleep and stay asleep. Right. So again, it is a big issue with your stress. Definitely.
Here's a great question. This is Rob. I used to live in San Antonio. I've moved to Portland. How do you do telemedicine? How do you know where you're lacking at? How do you do tests when you live in another state?
Definitely. You know, we've been working with this IW method for a while. So we have patients all over the place, all over the United States. In fact, we have patients in Canada, the Netherlands. I mean, we have patients everywhere. And the way we work is this. The first thing you do is that most of my clients, when they're looking for me, is, we're at imaginewellnesscenter.com. You go in there and we have a health assessment. This is how the IW method begins. We have a health assessment that anybody can do, Stephen. Even you can do it. Okay, you can go in there and it's free. It's completely free, but it's going to give you an idea of what systems are out of place. It is giving you an idea, a little bit more of the root cause instead of chasing your symptoms, right? So if somebody reads that, sees that there's a little problem, whatever problem it might be, right? It might be your neurotransmitters, whatever system comes red or yellow, then we know there's a problem there. You set up an appointment with me and we have a consultation. And we do a consultation, through Zoom. And once let's say that we do decide, all right, we're going to move forward and we are going to help you because you're dealing with stress, or you're dealing with depression, or you're dealing with autoimmune, you're dealing with cancer, you're dealing with thyroid, Hashimoto's, Graves' disease. I mean, there's all this different array of really diseases that we deal with that we have great, awesome results. Then what we do is that once you become a patient, we have a specific lab test, okay? Now, in America, we do have certain LabCorp, which is a company that does our testing anywhere in the United States, or we do have most of it through home kits. So let's say that if we're checking the adrenal glands, to me, I'm not going to check the adrenal glands in blood. I'm going to check it in saliva. And there's a reason why we also do home tests, because to me, they're a little bit more accurate in certain areas. So for example, if this gentleman that's, he's in Washington, right?
Portland.
If this gentleman says, all right, we know what, we need to check your adrenal glands. What we do is that we mail you, okay, this kit, home kit, in which we're going to do a saliva test, right? And the reason why we're going to do a saliva test is because we're going to test the function of your adrenal glands throughout your day, because the adrenal glands, they have a thing called the circadian rhythm, where it's high in the morning and low at night. So I need to know 4 times of the day where the problem is and what time the problem is. That way, that's where I can, help you to increase or decrease function accordingly to what the tests say. But if I did it in blood, and most of the time we're looking at it in the morning fasting, It's not giving me my all-day result of what the problem is. So I'm getting more results on that. So as far as testing is concerned, we have all the tests that we have are easy to do doesn't matter where you're at in the United States, we definitely get them to you. Not only that, if you are dealing, again, with any kind of problem, we do have our specific brand name of substances that are proven to help our patients. So if we need to provide a substance for you, we'll just mail it to you. Very simple. And that's how we've been working with a lot of our clients. We just mail things to them. And also we have a great platform to communicate with our clients. So we do have education. We do have ways of communicating, but that's how we work. If you don't live in this area, that's how we see, and that's how we've been helping a lot of patients.
Here's Mark from New Brunswick wants to know, is there a such thing as brain fog?
Of course, definitely. Brain fog, it is very common, especially for some people who are dealing with thyroid imbalance, okay? With especially in hypothyroid, you will see a lot of this fogginess. So, and again, the thyroid is one of the most misdiagnosed glands in the world, and I lived in different countries, so I know what we test and what they test, but the thyroid is completely misdiagnosed by most of the providers. So when you go to your doctor says, well, your thyroid is doing well, but you still have fogginess, you're tired, you're sluggish, you know what, you're gaining weight, you're having a little bit of that depression, you're not feeling as what you used to, your fingernails are starting to weaken. These are the things, especially in women, seeing the eyebrows disappear, right? Ever seen that? Now we're seeing problems that they more likely the thyroid, but then they go check their thyroid and the doctor says, hey, your thyroid looks great. And then they're saying, well, then it's not my thyroid, when in reality it really is. So again, yes, fogginess, it is very common.
So most doctors misdiagnose thyroid.
Yes, and let me kind of just give you a little bit of an essence of why. All right, I'm not here to talk bad about doctors by any means.
You're fine.
I'm just here to talk about the truth that people want to hear, because they need to feel better. We need to talk to them and educate them about what's going on. But at the same time, when you are in the healthcare system, it's all about medication. You become a client instead of a patient, right? You start taking medications forever. When do I cure? When do I heal? When does it happen, right? So anyways, when I look at thyroid patients, and I can tell you 95% of my patients that come into my office are mostly, low thyroid or even sluggish thyroids that are going to give you so many dysfunctions in your body, right? And again, I'm not saying that when you come into my office, we're just going to look at the thyroid. I believe that everything works within its with its web within this health system. But the thyroid, as the adrenal glands, are in the endocrine system, right? So therefore, if a doctor checks your thyroid, all they're checking is function of your thyroid, okay? How much is it producing? All right. Now, if you're producing enough, then there's no problem with your thyroid, but the misdiagnosis comes here. Your thyroid is going to produce mostly an inactive hormone called T4, okay? That's T4, it doesn't do nothing for your system, right? What we need is a hormone called T3. We need the T4 to convert to T3 because the T3 is what gives energy to all of your cells. Without it, nothing functions. This is the reason why you're gaining weight, right? Because you're not burning energy, because you can't use it in the cellular level. So this is the reason why when I'm looking at my patients, yeah, you might be producing, but you're not activating. And that's where they misdiagnose it. So let me say it in a different way so people can hear me and kind of understand what I'm saying, okay? What's going on here is this. Your thyroid is producing gasoline, all right? Now, your engine runs on diesel. Your doctor is checking your gas. And he says, you got plenty of gasoline, but wait a minute, my engine runs on diesel. But we need that gasoline, right, to make it into my diesel. In my refinery is the gut and the liver. That's where that mostly is going to be converted. My refinery of my gasoline will convert into that diesel through my gut and my liver. Now I have diesel. Now my engine can run perfectly. So this is the reason why they misdiagnose, is where they're looking at what? At your gasoline production. Even if you're taking medications, okay? If you're taking medications, you still have all the symptoms you started with, you just felt a little bit better. It means that what? That synthetic gasoline they're giving you, like the synthroid levothyroxine, maybe your liver and your gut doesn't like it. And you're not what? You're not refining it to what? To my diesel. You're not converting it into my T3 that I need. Yeah, my gasoline looks great. Your doctor says, hey, everything is perfect, but my symptoms tell me differently. So this is the reason why I was telling you about the systems that are web. You see, your digestive system and your liver work with your thyroid. Have you ever heard that? No. So this is the reason
No.
you need to identify what's going on with fogginess. And another thing, let me just take this one step further, okay, in misdiagnosis. 90%, especially in women, okay, your problem to thyroid imbalance comes from an autoimmune disease called Hashimoto's, meaning, or Graves' disease, meaning that your own defense mechanism or your body's so inflamed that your defenses go up so high that they start destroying your thyroid, and that decreases the production of what? Of your gasoline. Now you don't have gasoline, or you can't convert gasoline to diesel if you don't have it. So again, this is the reason. I hope that made a little bit better sense to understand the misdiagnosis.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
And
I gotta tell you, we are getting so many texts, people wanting to know more about the IW method. The show goes by so fast. I know. I wish it was longer too. Dr. J, you are amazing. You're going to be back with us, and I think next week you're back with us. There's just so much. I can't believe all the people who are writing about the IW method, and we will get more into that on your next show with us. Tell people how they can reach your office.
Yeah, most definitely. You know, we are here in San Antonio, and you can look for me at imaginewellnesscenter.com, in which we'll find a lot of information and videos to understand. I also have a YouTube channel in which you can follow us through that. You can call us at 210-798-9322. Okay, so that would be my office number that you can call us, and you can get all kinds of information there for us. Again, imaginewellnesscenter.com. You can find the IW method. You can also get in there and do an assessment. So all of you guys that are listening, if you want to get involved and understand a little bit more of that IW method, start by doing that, and then you can get a consultation with us, and we would love to work with you. Like I said, we do work with everybody, and we do work with a whole broad of chronic disease, any chronic disease that you might be dealing with, all the way down even to cancer. We've dealt with people that have liver cancer. We've dealt with people that have, prostate, breast, that we have great results by using the IW method in understanding the root cause and understanding how can we build your defenses in your own body to attack the dysfunctions that you're dealing with. So you are born with a godly given ability to heal, and that is our purpose, is to really change your life in a different perspective, not providing just substances forever. Your body can recover, and that's what the IW method brings to your table.
Well, Dr. Jimenez, Dr. J, thank you so much. We are so blessed to have you as part of one of our experts now in San Antonio. And again, if you've got a friend or a family member in a different state, you can also contact Dr. J's office. He does telemedicine also. And this is probably going to be one of our top shows in San Antonio. Thank you, Dr. J.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. It's a pleasure to be here and explaining health. And hopefully the people that are listening, there is hope for you. I know. And if you go into my channel and look at all the testimonials, we have tons of testimonials of people who have really regained their health organically. So thank you very much. We'll be seeing you guys next week. And if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you very much, Stephen.
It's Dr. Jimenez. We'll be back. That does it for us today. We'll be back again with you next week with more Ask the Experts. Feel better, Rebel.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.